And we're back. Welcome to the Long Grass podcast. This is the Footbridge crew. And after a little week sabbatical, we are back on the business. And unfortunately, a very sad problem due to load shedding, we've had to relocate. So shout out to Molly Malone's, who have very graciously accommodated us, which is perfect because now I've got draft beer. And
I don't have to rely on the Barris pouring skills.
oh yeah, no, this is you've actually lucked out the most in here. So I don't know what we have you now, but why do we have
Top quality banter.
right? So in the next hour, we're going to be talking about the Barris' interesting round in and around Blair Athol on Monday. I've returned to the course officially since the last podcast. We're going to be talking. We want to hear why Ross had to bail on Monday's round because of injuries. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Masters, the RBC Heritage, and then we are going to be talking about the Sunshine Tour, which returns this weekend to a place very close to, Ross can throw a ball onto the tour this weekend. So there it is. So yeah, before we get started, please do smash like on the video, subscribe. You can listen to this on Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, the whole shebang. Honestly, all the full podcasts on Forever Sports, and you can find the clips and stuff like that on the Footbridge Crew YouTube channel. A lot of cool content coming up there. Right, so since we last spoke, when we first episode, we went in terms of our golfing abilities and our strengths, our weaknesses and stuff like that. Since then, I think we've all played a couple of rounds, and I think we're going to put the Barris on the spot here, because the Barris bailed on playing, of course, his side of the neighbourhood to try and play Bryson, and then couldn't. So what do you do when Bryson's closed? Apparently you just pull into Blair Athol.
One of the top golf courses in the country.
And you just phone them and say, listen, it's the Barris, so you surely got a spot for me. And chat us through the round, because you weren't doing too badly around the halfway, and then story time.
So yeah, as I said, it's obviously difficult to try and rope me into Huddle Park when I've got Brian still on the cards, no matter who I'm playing with.
It was Ibotsi. Calm down.
It was Ibotsi. I thought it was Huddle Park. Oh yes, that's true. That's how little interest I had when I knew I had Bryanston on the cards. But so I got a call late that night saying apparently there's a river flowing through the tent at Bryanston. Obviously, there was a lot of rain on Sunday and everything like that. So didn't get to play Bryanston, but my mate gave me a call, said one of the few places that's always open when it rains. Apparently, is Blair Athol. So it was like, let's go play there. And I've only played there in the winter, so I was like, sweet, let's do it. Hopped in the car the next morning, Blair Athol. Before I know it, I'm warming up with some Titleist practice balls, better than the stuff that's in my bag. And yeah, I started really well. I went par, can't remember the rest, but was drawing really nicely. A couple bogeys as would be expected, and halfway is at the 8th. So this is another, I don't want to say halfway disaster, but I did again.
Halfway at the 8th?
Yeah, so you drive, so it's not in the clubhouse or anything, it's like a little creek. Well, I'll say a little creek, but it's on the Crocodile River there. There's like a nice little patio.
So you play the 9th and go back to the 8th halfway?
No.
Or you halfway at 8?
Halfway at 8, so you stop at 8, and then you charm. And let's just say it was a little bit of Leopard Creek. I hadn't eaten in the morning, and
the Barris halfway house strikes again.
Yeah, so I had 3 carrot cakes on top of as I was leaving the halfway, I said, can I take this? And he was like, yeah, you already had 2, so took one for the road. Went par. I turned 43 with 2 3-putts and a 4-putt on the front 9. Then went par. So I went par 9, par 10. Went like bogey, double bogey, and then 15, 16, and 17. Triple, and it took me to 93, and I made a par on the last. So.
Now, I like to think of that's common, because there I am, Benoni side, playing Ibotsi with a bad knee. The carts were off the no carts, so we trapped it.
You walked
Ibotsi.
That's an ugly golf course too. Oh my goodness!
It starts so badly as well, because you go up to the first tee box, then you go down, and then you go up to the second tee box, and we're sitting there going, chaps going to play 18 years. This is going to be a long day.
Do you know that I was at Blair Athol complaining that we had to do the 90-degree cart rule, where you drive in the rough and then you have to walk 90 degrees to your ball? I'm like, this is so much effort. I hate this. So I kind of just drive to my ball. Little did I know.
I was walking around Ibotsi.
Yeah.
With the bus me.
Yeah, with the bus. Thankfully, I had a mate who sorted me out and had one of those cars with the motor. So I was walking behind watching. Yeah, I'm gonna have to invest in one of those. That is life changing.
Have you seen those move carts? It's also those electric ones. Except you put this thing in your pocket and
it follows you. Yeah, dude, that would pretty bad, yeah, though, because I'll probably like step around the back to have like a pee, and next thing you know, like my card and my bag's in the dam, and you're like, oh my living.
But I've seen those. I think those are the motor caddies. And you put it. It's also got a little remote, so while you're at the green, you can just flip around and push your card as you please. But tell me more about this Ibotsi round that I left you on.
No, look, it's a tough course. The wind was howling
because you turned quite high. Your front line was quite a high.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I mean, I think I went double, triple, and you started after 4 holes. It was cold, it was wet, it was windy, I was walking, wasn't happy. I was in a very bad mood. Thankfully, I parred the par 5, nice par, felt alright, halfway house.
Which par 5 did you par?
The second par 5, the one that goes through the two, like those 2 hills, and then you have to go, do the middle down the bottom.
That's a cool par 5.
Yeah.
The 2 big mounds that come in and you've got to lay back all the time.
Because what I did is I took a leaf out of the barrels book and I put the driver in the bag. The problem with me is I don't currently have a 3-wood. So it was 4 iron.
4 iron.
So you're sitting there on the par 5 with a 4 iron.
4 iron.
4 iron. Chip on, missed the birdie putt, got the par, and then halfway. You know what? The second 9 showed me how you like pars and birdies are overrated. Bogey is exactly where I need to be in my life because I bogeyed every hole in the back line and I doubled 1. And it was a decent round.
So you know what I've been listening to lately is I'm now starting to break 90 a little bit more consistently. Bar this weekend. But the one thing that I was learning what they say is, and now I can relate to it because I'm finally in that stage, is they say that the best way for you to score as like a single-digit handicap is rather to avoid putting high scores on than putting low scores on. So like a triple or a double is going to hurt you a lot more than a birdie is going to help you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Make a triple and you make a birdie, you're essentially making that last hole a double, which is still not ideal. So
yeah, if you can take the big numbers out of the equation, it'll help you score handicaps so much.
yeah.
Well, even like, I had that Hammer Park round last week where I shot 91. I had a triple on there, like just like small thing. That triple's a bogey.
Yeah.
That's breaking 90. You know, so triples are just killers, and they're like emotional because you played that hole badly. Like there's no other way to go around it. Doesn't matter if you had a good tee shot, you played that hole badly.
Yeah.
So you've got to put a slow down on the scorecard.
Yeah, no, listen. What's in score capture disaster? Nightmare. Yeah. So, but it was a nice course. I was chuffed with it.
Ibotsi is a fantastic course.
Yeah.
I got a lot of love for Ibotsi.
It was very emotional in terms of like. I was just like shitting myself the entire way through because there's so much water and it's so narrow.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there like that back line is water on the right all the time. And when you've got like a slice like mine, you are nipping. Every single shot you are nipping.
I think it's 12 and 13, so par 5. Yeah.
You go down the right and then you come back towards the driving range. Yeah. So again, dude, 4 iron, and on the way back, hit 4, start taking the driver, hit it so nicely, and you just watch it going. Just going, and you're like, I mean, it was like 10 meters right to the fairway, but doing the drink, which is a bit sad, but yeah, so it was cool. It's cool to be back out. My short game is still non-existent. My driver is letting me down. I've got to get myself 3 hooks at the moment. Can't be hitting par 5 with 4 iron. But peaked good last week.
Good to be out there. It's the first time I've played it since the My Golf Life Open. Really good condition.
Did you play it before the My Golf Life Open or after?
I've played it a couple of times before, and then last week was the first time I've played it since. Yeah. Really good condition. Played nicely. I shot 78. Disappointing though. I turned.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, jeez.
I was level through 2, 3 putted par 3.
Yeah, 3 putting. I love that 3 putting.
Played the par 5s 3 under. Nice.
You know, that's one thing I never do is I never count like what I played in par 5s as. It's all one score for me.
No, I usually do because there'll be for me, it's the par three. My round, if I play my par threes well, then usually I'll have a good round. If I don't play the par threes well,
I'm so erratic. It's never like a factor for me. It's like,
but I suppose it's quite indicative of what your game is like on the day. If you're playing the par fives well, it means that you're obviously driving quite well and you hit your long irons pretty well. If you're playing the par threes well, it means your short game is obviously sort of rocked up better that day. So then your approach game is quite good.
Yeah, so I played the par fives, 3 under, par threes, 4 over, 3 putts.
No, 3-3. That actually made me feel so good because it's just so good to know that the 3 putts never off the cards. But anyway, the 3 putts always there.
Yeah, and then made my first par of the back 9 on the 18th. Birdies and birdies,
That's quite an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, so 78, not unhappy, but better than should have been. Proper shots.
When you go out on a round, what do you sit there going, this will be it, like I'll be happy with this score? Are you always going for that sort of level par vibes, or?
I think at the moment, level par super chocolate. That's what I'm trying. That's what I should do.
And yourself, and you're going sort of mid-80s now?
yeah, so if I hit a 90, so if I shoot 89, I'm like, oh, it was an okay round. If I shoot 90, I'm like, terrible round. Fucking, what an awful round. But I feel like I'm going to break 80 sometime soon. Like, I feel like it's in me. I shot at 82 at a Cassie a little while ago as well. And I think that was my new, that was actually a week,
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, before we haven't done the pod since then. I shot at 82.
Your best round, man.
Best round, and I went 3 putts on 10 and 3 putts on 11. So it was,
So you could have very easily break the 80 on that day.
yeah. So like I feel like I'm gonna break 80 soon. But yeah, I'm sort of in mid 80s at the moment, which is a nice place to be. That's always where I said, like, if I could get my golf there, it's not that you would know, but it would be decent. It would be where my golf is somewhat decent. So yeah,
Look, I think you've played more in the last week than I have played in the last 6 months.
yeah. I
So-
did wake up at 5 this morning.
Yeah.
to squeeze
No, I
in
know.
9
I'm
holes.
on the app every morning. I wake up and I worked late last night, so I wake up at like 8:30. Actually, already finished a round for the day. I'm like, goodness me, like, this is good commitment.
From the stories that we've just heard, I reckon we should change the name from the long grass to 3
Three putt crew, yeah.
There's been a lot of them in the last week.
And I hate the three putt take. Because it's one thing, like I said, the one thing usually I back myself is my putting hasn't been terrible, but you just sometimes get that hole where you just can't get anything for anything.
Yeah. The
But
mates of yours.
yeah, dude, I'm a courier. So it's just dropping the package, and then we'll move on to the next person. Yeah, I want to get back to break. Well, not get back to, but I'm now getting more frustrated. Like 95, I wasn't particularly happy with it. Like 91, I had last week. I was like, okay, cool. 'Cause especially when you can see, like I looked at that triple. I looked at how there were so many, 3 or 4 holes where I played them stupidly. You know, and I want to go back to playing like percentage golf and smart golf. Like I don't. That's the thing, and like there's the par 5 at Huddle on the back nine, on the front nine, sorry. It's the 6th. Yeah, 6th. There are all the trees on the right there. I always go into those
Dog
trees.
legs and it goes uphill.
And the problem is, I was in the trees, and you can either hit out and then thing, but there's quite a lot of space on the right. So you think, well, I just go right, sort of thing. But then you like miss it, and you like end up taking like 3 shots where you think just hit out to the fairway, hit close there. So that's the frustrating thing. I look at my scorecards and I can see where I can remove, I can take away 3, 4 shots.
That's also like what I've recently come to understand. When I play well, my course management is there. But there's often times where I find myself, like you said, you see the smallest gap,
Yeah.
and you're like, yeah, I can do that, and you end up costing yourself. So if you can sort of get your course management under control, that also helps you shave a couple of shots.
Yeah, I mean, at Ibotse, I was sitting, it was the 16th, I think. And I was 10, 15 short of the green, and it sort of rolls up there. And I'm sitting there with wedges in hand, and I'm going, shit, when I'm going to land this, I'm going to be able to get underneath this. And I thought, you know what, stuff it, put it back, took out the putter, and gave it a wallop. And it landed up 5 short of the hole, and I'm sitting there going, there's no ways, if I had taken anything else, I wasn't anywhere near that.
It's that saying, a bad putt is better than a good wedge.
Yeah, you know, So things like that, because I played last, I mean, the same as I said, I played with this guy who plays with 8 or 9. He puts from everywhere. Gets within like 20 of the green, and as long as there's nothing in front of him and it's decent fair race to take the putts around. And you can see how it works because there's nothing more frustrating than par 4, you edge or just off the green, and you're like, right, chip this close, over. Or like that par 3 round short, and then you like decelerate and you chip it 30 centimeters and you're going, oh my, what a waste.
So that actually happened to me. So I played in a competition on Friday, which is that Pro Shop Classic, so like lots of big
I thought
prizes.
you were going to say you're on the toy at the moment.
No, not yet. Q schools are up and coming.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be looking at.
You got your exemption there.
Yeah. So the exact same thing happened to me, and I was with my partner who's like a former pro,
Yeah.
and we were playing like for serious prizes with stealth drivers and everything. So we're doing our
What
best.
did you need then?
Not that I need them, but I still need them. But we got to the par 5 at the 8th hole at Kailami, and I went 1, 2, whatever it was. I'm sorry, 8th is actually a par 4, but it was the par 4, the 8th. And I went, and I was in such a funny position. Like I was in the bunker, but the ball's kind of on the lip. And my partner said to me, he's like, obviously doesn't like, because now you still gotta let the guy play his game, but he doesn't want to force me to say take putter, so he just tries to plant the seed. He's like, oh, you can putt that. So I was like, no. I ignored him, took out my wedge, sculled it into the back bunker, and I was like, fuck, I should have known. Like, that was advice from a former pro, and he just tried to put it as nicely as he could, and I blatantly ignored.
That dude, for me, if you are, it's always such an interesting one, isn't it? Because like when you play with someone and like, for example, like if you play with someone who's like obviously very much a beginner, like I'm the first person who should be giving any tips, but you can see very much like there's a big thing that they're doing wrong, and it's always like that thing of, do you tell them? Do you try to help them? Because I also guess there are some rounds where like like, depending on the mood, if somebody can see something, like tell me, but also there's some rounds where I hate being rubbish. Like I'm very aware that I'm not good at the sport. I'm very aware, like, you know, when you're like slicing everything or like you're topping everything, it's like, oh no, dude, just like, you know, you're looking up when you play, like, dude, I know. I'm very aware I'm playing badly. I don't need you to
But you
coach
also,
me
don't
right
want,
now.
you also don't want people to make you conscious of certain things.
Yeah.
I've seen it also plenty at the range where like other guys are trying to give advice on how to play and how to practice and everything, and like I'm sure they appreciate it, but at the same time, like I don't know what your level of golf is unless you like it. And even if you are a PGA pro, to be honest, unless I ask for it, I don't want your advice. You know, to put it as nicely as possible. But on the range, like I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what. Like I could shoot better than him day in and day out. He's trying to give me advice. Unless it was a certified pro or something, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, the range is a weird one though, because I mean, somebody was saying the other day that you can watch videos of Scotty Scheffler, some of the shots he's played, some of the swings, weird swings he's had, and you can put a compilation and be like, what's this guy's handicap? And people probably be like, 15, 16, the guy's going to Masters back. So it's also difficult to just base it if you're not playing with them on the course itself. Because I've played with guys who haven't looked particularly good, and then you look at their scoreboard afterwards and like, holy shit, man, this guy's gone through. Then you go watch guys who've got a really nice swing, but then 2 putting, 3 putting, and
So that's my worst, is when I see someone with a horrific swing and they play like they score better than me. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like I've had it so many times. I've seen guys like have ridiculous over the top swings, like slices and everything. I've seen a guy that beat me that would aim 90 degrees left because his slice would, and lo and behold, it ended on the fairway. But I'm like, how's this guy beating me? Like I'm here hitting draws. Like how does he keep doing it?
I think the biggest thing is, and that's what I'm starting to realize, is you get good when you start knowing your game. When you know what you're good at, you know how you play and stuff like that. My problem is I'm so inconsistent that I'll compensate for my fade and then hit a draw by accident. And then you're aiming like 10 yards to the left, and it's like now 50 yards to the left, and you're going, well, this is...
That's never what you want.
As soon as you can find like, what works for you and play within yourself, you start to find your game, even if it's super unconventional. When you look at Matt Wolf, when you look at Jim Furyk over the years, those are two of the worst ball swings you can find on the face of the planet. But yet, I was looking at him today after he speaks with his winning, obviously he's number 11 in all-time earners. He just surpassed 50 million in concourse. I think Jim Furyk's sitting at all-time earners with like $71
Would
million.
never
And
have
I wouldn't
he's
even
got
get.
one of the ugliest golf swings on the face of the planet. So as soon as you can play what find what works for you, play within yourself, you score. Whether it's ugly or pretty.
And that's also the same as Donny van Tonder. Donny van Tonder, he doesn't like any swing coaches or anything. He's like, he taught himself how to swing. He's the only person he likes to listen to is himself. And I've actually heard from other pros that he's got like a really weird like warm-up routine on the range where it's like hit 3 balls and then walk off and he's done. Like it's a strange
I
thing.
also heard a funny thing about Donny. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently when he wants to hit a draw or a fade, I can't remember the ball, but when he wants to hit a draw, he breathes in. So on his backswing, it's
So-
hits a draw, and then when he wants to hit a fade, he breathes out. So his backswing.
So I heard this exact same thing. So
We're gonna have to get with the party and be like, hey, listen, we're gonna need you to verify this.
we're gonna need you to take a swing real quick.
Yeah,
Just put
just,
the mic
just
close.
stand there and just quickly.
But I heard this exact same thing. One of my friends played in a pro-am with him and said he does this, but like it's very audible, the breathe in and breathe out. It's just, he says it was bizarre. It's a weird thing to
I
do.
wish I could switch it. Like it would be that easy for me to switch and be like, right, I need to go around these trees. Just breathe in, Steve. Like it's that
So we
simple.
get to
Just okay, cool. Now I'm gonna bend it around like bacon, dude.
If it is true, it's one of the strangest things in the first opponent. How he figured that out.
And how did he figure it out?
Like what mental like steps he goes through to feel like okay, when I breathe in, this is like a swing thought that comes with it, and so the draw comes with it, and when he breathes out, he's got a different swing. It's the weirdest thing, but if it works, and I just really want to know for sure.
Right. Well, there we go. We gotta get him on the pod and I'll ask him.
But as I said, my friend that played with him in the pro-am, and like this is like we haven't discussed this before. Anything, it's completely just as you mentioned it now. I was like, I heard the exact same thing.
Hey, look, listen. Rumors start from somewhere. Eh?
Yeah.
So Donny, if you watch this,
Just,
please let us
just,
know.
just comment there. Just be like, true or false, dude. We'll come on here and then we can see it for real. But yeah, speaking of the RBC, we'll talk about the Sunday Tour a little bit later. But PGA Tour as well, well on its way. And before we get to the RBC, Masters. What a weekend! But me and the Barrels were doing a bit of a watch along before we quiche and just died out there.
So, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, in terms of, I don't know if I'm interrupting you, Steve, it looked like it, but I was going to say, like, it kind of speaks volumes, the fact that we fell asleep during the Masters, that I think it was actually quite boring the whole time. You were hoping there was going to be, like, I would have gladly have stayed awake and not caught up in the morning, but the whole time you're like, is there any point, like, it's kind of a runaway with Scotty, and I'm like, can Rory really do it? No, he can't. Like, it was cool to see Rory do as well as he did in the last, but it was...
So I did watch through to the end because we were streaming and stuff like that, so I was covering things. But I can remember being down the south coast on holiday, and I was young, when Schwartzel won.
Yeah.
And it must have been about 15. I wasn't that young, but I remember getting absolutely crapped on by my mother. She walked out at 2:30 in the morning, and there I was like watching the golf. And she was like, "What are you doing?" Like, go to bed, because it was like, hang on, because that was when Rory had that meltdown, stuff like that. And we were like, he could do it. Like he's catching up. He had just held out from up there, and that was. You watch those things. I mean, like Tiger One and stuff like that. But that last weekend, and it's a credit to Sheffield because he just played so well.
And I also think, as you said, I remember when I was 13, 14, away in Mozambique, and I was sitting on the couch with my dad at 2 o'clock in the morning watching the Masters. 3 or 4 guys making tops, making birdies, the lead was changing. But ever since DJ Matsuyama, and then Sheffield, it's been boring. Sunday has been boring. That Mat 9 on Sunday at Augusta is slowly starting, I don't want to say lose its oomph, but the last 3 years have been boring on the Sunday. It's been tough to watch because whoever's won has been full credit to them, as Steve said. They've played incredibly, but there's been nobody there to run with them and make it a bit interesting, which sucks. But I thought after Scotty chipped in on 3 on Sunday, that took the momentum away from him, especially after he had gone 30-30. So then had a 2-shot swing there, and then 12 strikes again. And as soon as that happened,
Yeah, I think it's just you want that, like. I mean, he didn't need to look up at the scoreboard. He didn't have to sit there and go, oh, hang on. I mean, like Rory played that incredible round, and like, I mean, that chip up the bunker was ludicrous. But even then, Scheffler's just sitting there thinking, he didn't even have to play amazing golf. All he had, he was just sitting himself saying, right, just pass.
Yeah.
You par the back 9 here, you walk away with the green jacket.
And I mean, he four-putted 18.
Do you know, that was childish. Imagine 4-putting to win the green jacket.
Four-putting on 18 at Augusta to win, I think, 2, 3.
Yeah. I mean, he could have 6-putted and he still would have won. It's not exactly like, I mean, it's great on him, especially for, I mean, there's 4, and we said before, because we wrote it off. Well, I wrote it off. We basically said, surely not, you can't continue this form. He did.
I also want everyone to know that that stuck with me because I made my golf champs picks, and I specifically remembered us discussing on the podcast. I was like, Scotty could do it, and you can go clip that, Steve.
Yeah, no, he did say
You
it.
both are like, it's hard to keep that sort of run of form into the Masters, which I did ultimately agree with, but now I do have a touch of regret.
It is just mental. Like, look at his winning for the last 3 months compared to like the last 3 years and stuff like that.
I mean, did you see the stat about Rahm's winnings last year? Throughout the entire season, Rahm won $7.7 million. So far this season, Scotty's won 10.1 million.
I mean, I would consider just not playing them. I'll play the majors. You'll see me at the US Open. You'll see me at the Open. I don't need the rest. I've got 10 more on the back. I'm enjoying this.
But I also read something from one of the pros, and I forget who it is, but they say, like, your golf game goes through these peaks. And he was like, what a time to have your peak, which is obviously around the Masters. Like, you get these sort of peaks, and every now and then it can just swing your way. And I guess it's obviously Scotty's peak. I don't know.
What'll be interesting to see is how long he's and how much he can capitalize. If we look at last year, John Rahm was playing such good golf, but he doesn't really have like all that. You kind of feel like he could have done a bit more with the form he was in. Because at one stage it was just like every single time he walked onto the golf course, people were like, "That's the favourite to win. That's the favourite to win." And he did get lucky. I can't remember which tournament it was, but he had to leave. So he wasn't lucky, but like Scheffler has peaked and taken it right.
Yeah,
right.
But see, that's also, I think that's also what threw us, is because as you say, like, you see these guys have these peaks, and then especially at big events like the Masters, they fail to pull it through or whatever. But as you said, Scotty's done it. Credit to him. It'd be interesting to see how long he keeps it going.
And just on the topic of the PGA Tour, this big coming up this week is Zero Plus. Have you seen, I don't know if you've seen talk about Ryan Palmer and how good he is at picking his partners for this event. So Ryan Palmer, for the last 4 or 5 years, the average world ranking of his partners for this event is, I think it's 4.5, and he's nowhere.
Yeah, so how's he getting more of
He's
you?
had speed twice, and he had speed when he was world number 5 and he was number 3. He then had Rahm when he was world number 11. Last year he had John Rahm just before he went world number 1, and this week his partner is
Imagine being known as the guy that gets to play with the good guys. The guys on 4.
Like, you actually suck yourself.
Yeah, you're not trying to play particularly. You're not the crowds because you're not all the wild birds, but they're not there for you. You're very much not there for you.
So there's always talk about saying that he should go to college and they're recruited because he's the lead recruiter.
Yeah, literally, like, right, just go out there on a random 18. He needs to book like one slot in Huddle, whoever plays with, right? That's the Sunshine Tour player next year, chaps. He's got the luck. But yeah, look, I think the couple of stories, Tiger. He looked almost like he was back on the Thursday. Friday, played all right. But I'm not sure how much longer we're going to see him after watching that. He just didn't look comfortable out there on the Saturday, Sunday.
His leg just got worse since the day on. And I mean, I don't know if you saw him walking with 18 on Sunday, you could see he was physically limping.
Yeah.
And they showed clips of him after he had in his scorecard. His mom and Saturday Charlie were all there, and he was walking up the hill to go and give him a hug, and he got barely able to.
But on that note, I was chatting to some of the guys at the office, and they were like, one thing about an injury like Tiger's coming back from, with obviously the broken bones and everything like that, is when it's really cold, that's a tough thing to get going, especially in golf. You got to try to keep your muscles warm and to keep flexible and stuff like that. You obviously had limb damage and whatnot. But they were saying, like, the conditions of the Masters, especially the first few days, were quite cold, and they reckon that obviously added to the struggle.
But it's
Exactly.
interesting to see as well. He's now committed to Open, and him and Phil committed to this last week or the week before. They're both committed to the US. So he's in for
two more days.
two more majors. PGA and CMC.
Well, I mean, it's. I mean, I know it's Tiger, and if anybody could, he could. But you kind of almost feel it's like you're not giving yourself a very good opportunity to win if you're gonna play 3 tournaments a year. You know, like if you talk about form and stuff like that. Now I know you can be. Everybody's sitting there, it's like on the range, you're sitting better than ever, but it's still different walking out there with the crowds, with the playing partner, with some of the pressure and stuff like that to be able to play consistently. If you're not playing tournaments, you know.
And it's also like on the range. Yes, he's straining his body and his hand hundreds of kilometers at a time. The golf course is different because he's walking up and down hills, he's walking in and out of bunkers, he's bending down to pitch marks.
Well, he wasn't bending down. I mean, like watching him try and read a putt, and he's just like squatting like here and going, all right, cool. Like, look, I mean, he does the greens back, which is probably helped a lot. But I mean, like that whole thing about his caddy reading the greens for him and stuff like that. So
it is very different to like seeing videos of like flashing it on the range and taking it to the deck because you add in the physical duress of the course plus then mentally mentally on the range is very different to mentally on the Sunday. So,
And I was also surprised because I thought if there was one thing, like everyone was talking a lot about Tiger's short game and like that sort of approach shot from 100 to 150. Apparently, like he was really dialed in, and I didn't really see it on the course. I saw it on the driving range. I mean, there was times when I was watching the warm-up sessions on the driving range, and I'm like, wow, if this guy's within 100, he's going to be dialed. And it kind of he started well with some nice putts on day one, and then just never really got going.
but even on day 1 and 2, he was just rescuing the entire time. Like he would had a terrible tee shot or a terrible second, and then bring it back with a really good chip or a really good second or something like that. Like it was never a case of like Scheffler, for example, was so consistent. He was just hitting fairways. He was always, he was never like completely out. Whereas Tiger was having to save a lot of holes.
Yeah.
Tiger really struggled. I picked up in the first 2 days to hit a green.
Yeah.
Really struggled to hit a green, and then I think it was round 2, round 3. I can't remember which one. But we came and then he was the interview, and he just said it feels like I feel like I was on the course. We're cutting practice to 1,000 putts. Yeah. 30 putts or something.
So I think the reality is we are seeing the end of Tiger.
So, sorry, Stephen, just speaking on the end of Tiger, I want to know one thing and your guys' opinion on this. Do you think Tiger could almost get like a Arsene Wenger sort of send-off? So, when I say that, I mean, Arsene Wenger obviously was...
Overstayed as well.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Overstay your welcome. So, Arsene Wenger obviously did so much for Arsenal, but towards the end, you've kind of got fans rioting outside the stadium saying that they want you out.
Thanks for everything, but it's time for you to go.
Yeah, so now I'm wondering do you think that same sort of thing could happen to Tiger? Like, can Tiger overstay his welcome in golf, or is he beyond that? Like, can he go there, come last every week and it's fine, or is he gonna get a bit tired of it? Are people gonna be tired of seeing Tiger just struggle?
I don't think it would be a Wenger type thing. I think people will always pay to go and watch Tiger. I think people will always want to go and see Tiger. I think what would happen is if he was to continue to pitch up and not perform, I think he would call it on himself before the fans called it on him.
I think so, but I mean, what's an interesting aspect, and I think it's what a lot of people have blown up portion, but he brings in so many spectators. He brings it that the Masters was very much the Tiger show, and there is a lot of people sitting there saying, if he's not playing particularly well, I don't need to watch every single one of his shots.
Yeah.
Like we've got a top 10 of guys who are playing good golf, and we're not seeing anyone play there. Whereas we're seeing every single shot of Tiger as he goes in cards at 6 over. Do we need to be watching 30-40 of Tiger's 78 shots that he made, as opposed to something like Rory played that really good round. We didn't get to watch as much as we might have if Tiger wasn't playing. And that's an interesting perspective, because your golf fan who maybe isn't necessarily according to the Tiger hype wants to watch the best golf. but you can't ignore that he's the biggest draw card. And how do you then get that balance about listen, people want to watch him play, but he's not playing well. So to the new fan and stuff like that, you've got to be able to show who's playing well, who the best players are. Because like I had some people, like I was sitting at the course, someone was complaining, I was like, I hate to watch the Masters. All we did was watch Tiger the entire weekend. And even to a certain degree, I can understand the thinking there, because even like the commentators, you got somebody, I think it was like T4, T5, he's about to putt, and the commentator was saying, this is the hole where Tiger went left and where Tiger went right. And it's just like, there's more to golf than Tiger. And unfortunately, we're also into a situation where there needs to be more involved in Tiger, because we are seeing the end of it. So who is the next generation? How do they keep golf appealing to the average fan when he does move?
It is tough because I'm a massive Tiger fan. I'll always be a massive Tiger fan. And it's true, like over the Masters, every second that they came out of commentators now was Tiger. And it was very Tiger orientated. But then it's also tough to not make it Tiger orientated, because I saw also the stat after the first 2 days. It was the highest sporting events in history.
And it was because it was back. And it wasn't because it was the Masters.
It was the highest watched sporting events in ESPN's history. And that's Tiger Woods.
Yeah,
the
that
reason
is.
it is Tiger Woods.
But the interesting thing is it because it's Tiger Woods, or was it because it was Tiger Woods' return? Does he still have that? If he's playing week in, week out, are the numbers still astronomically up? Or is it a case of he's back, we need to see if he can do it? Now that he can't do it,
I don't think that the numbers are always going to be astronomical in terms of golf, but I don't think they'll ever be as astronomical as they were this weekend, because it was kind of, you're talking about the golf's biggest major, golf's biggest player, and he's coming back. Like the story, if Tiger won the Masters, is unmatched. He could still go win a major now and be an unbelievable story, but to have him come back on his first game and win the Masters would have been like that. The numbers won't ever match what they were this last week.
That would have been something that can't even write a story.
Yeah, that's like Amazon or nothing documentary. Speaking of it, we've seen that they are making a documentary about the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Amazon thing. We have to do a watch party of that.
Is it not a Netflix series?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's Netflix. Yeah, so it's like Drive Survive type vibe. Yeah. Because
I saw the list of players in the show. Spieth, JT, Ricky, Cooper.
Yeah, I think it's be really cool.
I think it's actually big for golf in general. To be
Well,
honest.
look what Drive Survive's done for Formula One.
Huge, and golf was suffering the same sort of thing that Formula One is, where it's like I want to say like an older generation, like you guys don't really understand the hype behind it and everything like that. But the moment you throw Netflix on it and you make everything quite dramatic, and people can really give them an outlet to get into the sport. To be honest, and golf needs something like this.
And it also lets people who aren't interested in golf see personalities.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
normally on the golf course, when you're watching a PGA Tour, besides when someone hits a good shot or a bad shot, you don't see that much emotion or any personality for that. So a Netflix documentary on that will show people personalities and will attract people to be like, ooh, this guy's quite cool, I'm going to follow PGA Tour out to see.
You look at someone like Taylor Hatton, and the fact that he just drops every superlative that he can after every shot, and people are like, that's cool. We spoke about the fact that that's actually something we'd like to see more on the Sunshine Tour. We want to know people, we want to see stories and stuff like that. Exactly, we need to start building narratives. So. Yeah, I think it's going to do amazing things. Now you've got the random person down the street who now knows who the team principals of Formula One. And you're thinking, even when I was even when I was like relatively interested in Formula One, I didn't really know who the team principals and stuff like that were. Whereas now we're going to start seeing that, which is going to be very cool. But speaking of the next generation, Spieth with the RBC Heritage Island, and also just on South Africa, good to see Eric Roy bouncing back and playing a nice round. My boy Shane Lowry's also in around there. He's coming back, but are we going to start seeing the Spieth that we kind of were waiting to see, because he was, he found success so easily, so quickly. Like, we were like, right, here's the next superstar. Move over Tiger, we've got the next person, and then he's just hasn't really taken the next step.
Yeah, he went through that patch where he completely lost his swing and fell off the face of the bank for a year and a bit, and then beginning of last year with AT&T Pebble Beach, he had a and then he had Sawgrass, he played really nicely. Then Arnold Palmer, I think he was at the top 5 finish, and then leading up into the Marcy one era takes Luke, and that was his comeback when that was his FIFA fault, because he was coming with 5 top 5 finishes, 4 top 5 finishes, got the win a week before the Masters, and everybody thought he was back, and he couldn't manage to get another win last year. But now it's also still besides for the Masters, but he has been trending in the right direction for a while now, and this week I think he needed it, because it's one thing to go through his bad patch that he had and then get that win and have a couple of weeks of good form, but then to not win again for another year, it also brings that doubt back into your mind of was that last year lucky? So I think this is a big win for him. I mean, watching his interview afterwards, he said he felt like he won this week without putting, because he putted terribly. I mean, it's the first time since 2013 he tied worst strokes gained putting as a winner since 2013. I mean, he was like, I think he was losing like 2 shots to the field on the greens, but he still managed to win it. And afterwards he said his game's feeling good. He said tee to green is probably the best he's ever been, but he said his putting needs work, and he said that's where his focus is now going, because he knows where he can be with the putter. I think everybody
we've seen with it, and that's that must be an amazing place to be to a certain degree, when you are winning and yet what you in many ways what you're known for is not doing, and you're like, well, I know I can do it. So once I unlock that,
he could be. I think if he can get his putter not even all the way back to where it was when he had those mega seasons, if he could just get it good, with him hitting tee to green really well, he could be back on the scene.
And your guys' thoughts on Rory? He's starting to find a bit of
we've been waiting to see this one.
Yeah.
And also like the passion's back.
Yeah.
Because he's a really, when we talk about personalities, he's a fun guy to watch. When he's playing well, I mean, it's awkward. The acceleration was horrifically awkward when he did hold it out. But Rory playing well, and competitive Rory is a fun watch, and that's what you want to see. You want to see the Spieth playing well, Rory playing well, and those personalities. I mean, we need to see more of that.
And did you see what Rory's tweet after the Masters? He said today was the most fun he's ever had on the golf course, which is quite good. When you watch him go through the highs and lows, he's using it very well. Up until the point where he was tearing his shirt off his legs. So now being the happiest he's ever been on a golf course, and you sort of saw. So I wonder if he's had a mental change in terms of golf is not the be all and end all, and he's sort of taken a step back, been with his wife and his child, and sort of found a new lease on the attitude he's going to take towards the game, and that's allowed him to play a bit more freely, and hence the return in form possible.
It's interesting that you say, because I saw something where they spoke to Rory about this exact thing, and they said to Rory, they're like, having a child and everything now, does it give you that sort of new lease on golf? Like, is it when you're with a child you kind of forget about golf? And he's like, I wish I could tell you that it does, but it doesn't. He'll be there, he's like, I'll sit there with my child and I'll still think about that shot that I pulled on the 7th. And it's like, it shows you how mentally golf is.
I think that's also that's why some of them have the ability to be able to switch off, be able to walk off the course and leave the course. And look, some people, that's what they need to be able to say, that's the thing. And then some people, they thrive because they're always thinking, how can I improve? What can I do better? I mean, something like Bryson, I can tell you right now, that guy, before he goes to sleep, he's sitting there thinking, right, where am I improving? What am I doing? How am I hitting this longer? Speaking of Bryson, see he's had undergone surgery. Could be out for a while.
It's pretty, because I think also for that sort of player, like rather sort your injury out than try to do what you did at the Masters. Like, I mean, obviously for him, like, it kind of showed how desperate he needs to be in the spotlight in the sense that, like, he should never have played. He looked terrible. He should never have played.
It's Masters, so you don't skip.
But it's the Masters, you don't skip it. The only person that could have really skipped it was probably Tiger, which goes to show you something. But as I say, like, Bryson played it definitely not 100% purely because Masters and he has to show face. So I'm glad now he's getting the surgery. And to be honest, he's the kind of player, like, he's under so much scrutiny that anything he does wrong, people are ready to rip at him. Like any injury he gets, guys are ready to, oh, you try to swing too hard, you practice too much, you do this. So
I know. I mean, everybody goes after him. They're saying, of course, look how horrible you're swinging.
Yeah.
And you think, well, Tiger's one of the best players of all time.
Yeah.
You look at his injury list, and it's like a flippin' grocery bill. You know, it's like so. But we talk about. I mean, let's be honest. Bryson, in terms of talent, is not one of the most talented golfers out there.
Yeah.
But we talk about personalities. We talk about people who make you interested in the game. He's got a YouTube channel. He's out there. He does long drive competitions. He goes on podcasts. He puts himself out there. He's a big personality. He tried to sort of change the face of golf. He's very controversial.
And he has sort of changed the face of golf. To be fair, I mean, there's still people that, I know when I was first practicing, I was like, shit, I've got to drive long, And he certainly had an influence on a large amount of people in terms of how you approach golf now. And not just amateurs, but pros, experts. I mean, Rory was trying to chase what DeChambeau was doing. Like Rory said, he struggled because he tried to pick up driver swing speed and he couldn't. And it actually messed his golf up. So what Bryson was doing was certainly unique and was certainly working. Yeah.
The issue is you just don't know. It's like, because if you'd won a couple more, people would sit there going, we actually have, like, there's no option. We have to now start playing long. And he didn't start winning. So people are like, you know what? You can pull the gas between I can't hit as far as you, but my short game, and I can putt and stuff like that. But we need people like him playing well because we need those sort of personalities to carry it. But
he brings such a cool narrative to golf as well. Like as I say, it's a different story behind the entire sport from what we've been seeing. You know, this guy's always like play safe, do this, do that. You've got Bryson driving greens, trying to go for it at Bay Hill and everything like that. I'm like, this is such a cool.
plays to the crowd, for example.
Plays to the crowd. I mean, who celebrates on a drive? You know what I mean? Like it's such an interesting part to see.
I love the Ryder Cup moment where he had a driver in hand, talking to his caddy, and then he puts his driver away, and the crowd starts booing. He says, "Hey, I'm still going for the green."
Yeah.
And it was like going mad. So like, takes his 3 wood, hits onto the green. Like you need someone that's gonna be like there, you know, because like somebody like I don't really mean him, like somebody like Colin Morikawa, fantastic player, beautiful player. And there's not much personality, not a big personality. You're not sitting there going,
Like nice guy.
yeah, no, perfectly nice guy, very very nice guy. Chapman, don't get nothing wrong, but he's not whipping. You're not sitting there going, what's he doing next? And in many ways, people prefer to watch someone who's worse, has a narrative, has an appeal. You want them to do something, maybe even if it's a bad guy, something like that. You want something like that to happen more than just your average show. I mean, Scheffler, for example, is now the Masters champion. But in many ways, people are more interested in the Bryson and something like that because they've got that. Especially if you're not like your average golf fan, you're not just watching to see who's the best. You're watching it because I watch this guy on TikTok, I watch this guy on YouTube and stuff like that. You know, so that's where Bryson fills the gap. But coming a bit closer to home, and good to see our South Africans doing quite well on the tour. We're fantastic to see Schwartzel back and playing. It was so cool. I mean, we didn't give him I don't think we spoke about it. Just something. But this week we are at Sunshine Tours back after a bit of an Easter break. We are at Dainford for the Stella Artois Players Championship.
Was that always on the cards, or was that a recently announced partnership?
The event was always in the cards, but it wasn't known. So the actual sponsorship is a recent thing.
Yeah, Stella came on Friday. It was announced. It was a big
Is that what you were that night?
That's the real reason why he didn't play with you on Monday. Is that the Stella Artois?
He's been at Stella 10 years. The last week, every week going, oh, listen, that free sample. But yeah, home course for us. Knows the way around there. I grew up playing there a lot. It was never kind to me. But we're starting to sort of wind down now. I mean, it's not massive money. The co-sanctioned events are out. I see that they've added another one though. They're going up to Zim, which is quite cool. And apparently that is set to become a co-sanctioned event. So apparently that could be a DP World Tour next year or the year after. which is a wild concept to have a DP tour in Zim. But yeah, this weekend, I'm trying to think of the big players.
I know I sent you guys a thing with Xander and Eric who's supposedly playing, but they jetted off to Spain because there was an event that wasn't supposed to be played that's now been confirmed. So they,
Let me get the confirmed.
Jakob van Zijl's playing.
Teddy Duplessis playing. He's been a nice round of form as well in the Sunshine Tour. But I'd be very interested to see how these Sunshine Tour players play Dainfern because I have to say I think it's a relatively easy course. A little bit of a controversial opinion.
I think they're going to
Those par fives are so short that it's. I'd like to see how the protees, like how they attack it from the protees. But those par fives, I mean, I've had a 7-9 into a par five, and I can assure you, I'm not a long hitter. So.
Last year when they played, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I'm 99% sure there was a 59 watch.
I'd be very interested to see.
Interesting story about that. So one of the Dainfern ambassadors, Harry Koenig, was playing a practice round on par 4. Teed it up, teed it up, lost his first one, re-teed, walked off with a 3.
Oi,
No, that's huge. That's huge.
the best par you can ever make.
Yeah,
The
literally.
worst part you
Yeah.
could
Yeah. Because imagine, 50% of you is like, yeah, that just happened. 50% of you is like, you idiot, you just did it the first time. We're walking off
with a 1.
But,
Saved himself a bit of money in the clubhouse then.
so here the tournament entries, we've got here a couple of the big names. Kaminsky's playing,
I'll be like,
Bubeck
I haven't seen.
playing,
He hasn't been playing too late, has he?
STC Jet.
Okay, cool.
Emmett Burns playing.
So I heard Rupert Kaminsky. Yeah, I heard old Rupert Kaminsky. Like he's quite a focused player. Like practices a lot. Like does his dietary stuff. Like I'm sure a lot of these. Steve says that he sips his coke. This is also an athlete over here.
In terms of athlete, in terms of pre-golf rituals, I'm not sure you can be throwing shade.
No, that's true. The monster we call around. It's
The sugar-free monster.
It's sugar free. You got to stay healthy out there, you know. But no, I heard Rupert Kaminsky. He's quite a serious golfer. A lot of these tour players, I'm sure, don't take it as seriously as they should in terms of like eating healthy, training, gym, swing coaches, and everything. I'm sure a lot of them just have a lot of good talent and go out there and play.
Listen, there are some units on those tours.
Yeah.
Shane Lowry would look very, very comfortable in the front row.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, as I said, I'd like to see how old Kaminsky does. I'm sure he's one of the South Africa's best talents at the moment in terms of genuine golfing ability.
Yeah, well, we've also got JC Ritchie, Stefan Arlen playing, Nathan Tonda, Timber Jr. Yeah. As he's driving, hey, listen, dude, we need to know. We need to know.
You could probably ask him from outside your house.
Yeah, as you're having your bride, as he walks past. Dan, just a quick one. Neil Skilligan's playing. Jay Selico. Yeah. So a couple of Jay Fisher Juniors playing. Not too many internationals, as you would probably imagine. But James Harper is playing. He should be quite fun to watch, I think, because of being a short course.
Also, I'd like to see how he does on the par fives. Those par fives that Dainfern were really not that.
I mean, last year was one there was a playoff. You see that he's either Donnie or Jakob Prinsen, but they were in the playoff together. He played 18, he played it 3 times. The first 3 times were extended with Eagles. On the 18th, Zach Dryden So between the 2 of them, they went 4, 11 under on the 3 times they played it. And then just after go back to Rupert in terms of him saying best, in terms of
Yeah.
played with him a couple of times.
And he's got nothing on Ross.
His ball stroke sounds
It's crazy.
his ball stroke.
So does mine once around.
Rocket ship into the water, right?
How often I'll do that? Like I'll middle it nice and you just watch it like dribbling into the water. And then you like duff it, we have fair, and yeah, I'll take it. But Yeah, I think it's a good fun. We're definitely going to check it out. I'm sure Ross will be our man on the ground. I'm going to try and go through this weekend. If you're not playing golf,
No, I am playing golf, but I can probably squeeze it in after.
just let us know when you can. Yeah, and then me and Ross will play on a Tuesday, which is going to be good fun.
That'll be fun. Get out there fresh. Hopefully, I think the earliest tee time. So then we'll be going playing it on the weekend. We might be open to all the races and that on Monday.
I'll be working, so that's nice.
You won't be in Kalani playing mine for the office.
So that'll be good fun.
I'm just gonna like protest and barricade the entrance so they can't take any of the signage out. I want to be sitting there. I want to be driving with like the signage back there, sunshine tour. I need some profile pictures here. We gotta get the gram going.
It's brilliant.
The problem is that they are still up there. I'm probably gonna like smack a few.
But they take them down the Sunday night, and I played the Peak and Wood on the Monday, and all the signage was really fun. I hate to break it. I hate to break your bubble.
That's what they think.
Yeah.
That's what they think. Yes. Ross is gonna get me in there, and then good luck taking that stuff down.
But I think these next 2 weeks for the Sunshine Tour is actually quite cool. Danefin's a really nice course. I'd love to see other guys. But like, it's an interesting challenge. Or I don't want to say challenge because Danefin's relatively easy, or it's at least short. And then afterwards is Serengeti, which is actually one of my absolute favorite courses in Johannesburg. So that's also quite a good test off the Pro Tees. I'd love to see how the guys play. I mean, that is a fucking beautiful course.
Yeah, one of the best courses out there.
Yeah, I think any person that goes there, and we mentioned it on the last podcast as well because of the halfway beers, but yeah.
I think most people have
It's not even just because first of all the course is gorgeous, but it's the entire experience.
Yeah.
You get there, and from the reception, it's like, here you go. I mean, we go up there, like, no, just, I mean, we didn't even, you drop your bag, like, right at the front before you walk in. By the time you get down there, there's your cart, your bags on there. You have lunch, you get back, turns out there's a guy clean up all your clubs and stuff like that. I'm like, man, it's not going to be any difference. We're going from 5 in the back line as well, but we appreciate your work. Yeah, just the entire vibe there was just.
As I said, I'd really like to see how the pros play that with the Pro Tees and everything. That's also a big difference between Club Tees and Pro Tees is Serengeti, and I think it's a fantastic challenge in terms of golf. I say golf in South Africa, but I think the courses are really well. Like, it's a smartly designed course for what you get. Like, it's not your typical like sort of parklands golf course. Like a lot of
Iron green, a lot of water in and around there.
Yeah, the whole thing. That's
The rough is rough.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic course, and that's why it's the same sort of thing. Danefin's a bit more statey, and it's a little bit more gimmicky. But I look forward to they're two sort of different tests. I think Danefin's got that sort of gimmicky thing, where you could be hitting a really highly lofted club in 2.5, 5, whereas Serengeti, it's a bit more challenging, a lot more water, a lot more strategic. So it's two sort of different play styles that I think you'll see over these next 2 weeks.
Danefin will pose its own challenge.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I think the guys are going to go low, especially with the rain we've had in something being able to attack. But the rough spots, it's really
Are they specifically trying to go it out?
So that's the same thing they did at the My Golf Life Open. So Peekwood, obviously, they had a lot of rain before. Guys started shooting, and I reckon the DP World Tour, like, listen, guys, we can't have every record broken on one golf course. You got to fucking do something to sort this course out. And I was obviously there on Saturday, Sunday morning, very early, and you just saw like 6 guys on the green rolling and cutting and checking stimp and going. And actually, when I got onto the 18th green after Marathon won, I went onto the green and I felt it was like a cricket pitch. It was crazy. And when I played it on the Monday, the rough was incredibly long. So I'm assuming Danefin's going to do the same sort of
Yeah,
thing.
Stain City also did that, I was saying, because he played on like the week before, or it was 2 weeks before. He played like one of the last days before they closed it. And he said that you could see as they were building up, they weren't touching the rough anymore. They said they were just trying to do whatever they could to try and defend the course.
Yeah.
Because they were worried that there was going to be childish. And the first 2 days, it threatened to go very long.
And the other thing with them was playing it as a member the last couple of weeks has not been fun. Because it used to be relatively wide field and now they've brought their neighbour on just about every single hole. So it's roughs, longs, fairways, and narrower. think it'll be they're still gonna low, but in terms of
What we saw with Beaconwood and Stain is that they went low Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, and then also I suppose you play with pin positions as well. Because the weekend, like they did do quite well. Because both the Beaconwood and Stain City threatened to go like 13,
Like we're gonna lose control.
you know, like it was getting hectic. And then thankfully it started leveling up a bit more on the weekend.
maybe this weekend as well. Rams supposed to come back Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
There goes my round. I've got enough
We'll see what they think.
so it could be interesting. It'll be fun to see.
Yeah, and then we're gonna film around on Tuesday. It's gonna be really cool to see what. I mean, it's gonna absolutely decimate me. I mean, if the rough is looking rough and the favour is even smaller, and the quick greens, it's not gonna be a fun time, but it should be interesting. But well, there we go, chaps. Once again, appreciate you guys for coming on, and
Appreciate Holly Malone for turning off that speaker.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
think people realize what happened before we started because we had the speaker above us here. The camera doesn't have it.
YouTube was going to, not that we are monetized, but they were going to demonetize us very quickly for having the best hits of the 90s in the background.
Yeah, now 40 playing in the
Yeah.
background.
But yeah, massive thanks to Molly Malone who have accommodated us on very short notice due to load shedding. We are currently on the lookout for a more permanent venue.
And a place that offers food and beverage as well. If you want
Yeah.
to include that in there.
Happy to give you a shout out. But please do smash like the video and subscribe, and see if you can listen to us on all your major platforms, stuff like that. And there are lots of really cool content coming in around very soon. Also, make sure you follow us on TikTok so that Matthew can become a TikTok verified superstar.
I'm halfway there. I've been getting a lot of people messaging me about my TikTok.
In the DMs, like, are you the TikTok star? Yes, that is me. But thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next time.